Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Edson 32K Media. Today I have a really special treat. This is my dad's 1989 Saab 900S Turbo. It's a 5-speed manual transmission, and when you guys first see Saabs, you don't necessarily picture like young people driving it. You know, you kind of picture more like history teachers or like older folks who are like working banks. Because I think the style layout is kind of like a frog to me. It's like a Porsche, but a little bit more of like deformed. But you know, as you get older, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of grow into it, you know, and it grows on you. And I've had a chance to drive, I think, 3 Saabs in my lifetime. And actually, my first car coming out of high school was a Saab. And Saabs actually used to make aircrafts, or like fighter aircrafts. And when you drive a Saab, you can kind of see certain characteristics of that inside the car. For example, the curved windshield, everything is laid out kind of curved, so you're kind of like a fighter jet, like sitting in a plane, versus you have controls to everything, it's within reach, you don't have to like reach around. Very ergonomical. A thing that separates, I think, Saabs from a lot of the JDM cars that I've driven is that Saabs are very heavy, very tank-like. When you hit something or when you kind of kick it, it doesn't ding. So in a sense, it's like a tank. You're driving a tank, so you feel very safe in it. But engine-wise, this particular model is a 1989 Saab 900S. It's a 16-valve cylinder with a double overhead camshafts. This is a B202 model, so I guess in Italy they called it the EP, but here in the States they manufactured it as being the 900S. So I think this one produces about 140-ish horsepower, and then it's about, I guess, 2,900 pounds weighing in. So it's like heavy, but not like super heavy. Like, it does feel heavier than a lot of Japanese cars, like I mentioned earlier. It averages about 20 miles a gallon on the freeway, about 23, 22 on the city. But I mean, you guys probably have never ever driven a Saab, so if you get a chance, I recommend driving one. I think they're turning into classics now. They're discontinued. This is more from the classic older model. It's front-wheel drive, so you kind of have to get the power and put them down. I think you guys come up behind me. But yeah, let's cut it short, and then we will definitely take off for a spin and I'll give you guys a little more in-depth review of how the car drives. Alright, so yeah, I mean, it grows on you, and I think the more you drive it, the more you appreciate it, you know? I think every generation of cars, every era, you know, there's always little improvements here and there. You know, like you'll be driving, I guess, a 1989 car versus a 2016 car, and you know, as good as the car feels, there's something about driving an older generation car that you kind of appreciate, you know? Being more mechanical, being more driver oriented, less technology interference, less computer interference, and you know, you just appreciate. And I guess being the car person, I think you should kind of take the best of both worlds, you know, and just kind of embrace. But yeah, we're gonna try to take the car on some more open streets, so I can kind of like give you guys a little more push, you know, and try to give you guys a little more idea of how the car handles at higher speeds and through turners and corners. But I mean, I didn't appreciate this car as much when I first had it. This was actually the car that I got my driver's license in way back in high school. I took this car to the DMV to get my test. And for those of you guys that are not in California, we call it the DMV here, Department of Motor Vehicles. But we're gonna actually get on some straights here. I'm gonna push a little bit. I'm in first gear. Turbo kicks in. Around 4 or 5. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's not as fast as some cars out there, but it's fun. You know, it's very mechanical. Very. You can feel the turbo. But back to the point. I mean, this car it's a solid car. You know, there's something about driving a classic that kind of gets to you. And it might not be up there with like, you know, the 911 old school 911s or like the Mach 3 Supras, you know. But you know, I mean, I think being in the right hands of the right person, you know, it can definitely be appreciated. Um, yeah, right now we're actually pulling up some lights right here. But I mean, it's a solid car. It's the leather, you know, over time probably has worn off, but you know, there's seat covers to cover them, obviously. Um, you know, just some of the things that I guess been done to this car is Pioneer in-dash player, um, Bluetooth. You definitely need that when you're driving. Convertible top, I think is still OEM, still stock. It still goes down. It still goes down, you know. It still goes down, and it's kind of nice, you know, on the summer times when you're kind of driving and you kind of want to have that kind of fresh air. You take the top down. But for me personally, I think I'm not a fan of hard tops. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of soft tops. I kind of like it, you know, hard. So, but I mean, you know, every person to his own, and it's kind of funny because my dad has had, I think, 4 Saabs in his lifetime, and this is his second one. And I mean, you know, I always tell him like, hey, you know, if this car is gonna have issues later, you know, sometimes it'll start, sometimes it'll die, but you know, if you're gonna drive something, you might as well drive what you like, and I think that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what people say. You know, at the end of the day, it's your car. You're gonna be the one parking it in the garage. But it's car. I mean, I feel it's very unique. You know, very unorthodox. Some of the things, like for example, the key thing is it's kind of like way down here. So instead of like the original, you stick it to the side where the steering wheel is. You actually stick it right down, but like it's pretty much almost where the transmission is. You just kind of like stick it in there. I don't know. I guess it makes it more difficult for thieves to steal it. But shift knob is kind of like, it reminds me a lot of like the Subaru WRX STI shift knob, where it's kind of like sticks up a little high, and it's kind of has that little kind of flat, roundy feel to it, which is kind of nice. Um, I guess one of the other things that I noticed about this car that I really liked was I like how the steering wheel is like, you can't, it's kind of funny, you can't actually adjust the steering wheel, but it's laid out so well that 9 and 3 feels really, really sweet, and you don't have to like move around as much. It's kind of similar to the you know, that's the S2000 that I drive. It's, you can't adjust the wheel that either, it's already set. So I guess once this light hits green, we're gonna give it a little more push and give you guys, you know, hopefully you can hear turbo kick in, but probably not. But all in all, I mean, I think the car is really great, and it's a classic. You can find these for fairly cheap now, and I don't think people do a lot of modding on here. I saw a video of a guy on YouTube. He upgraded his car, did a lot of mods to his Saab, and there's another guy, I think in Taiwan, I believe, or in Japan, I can't remember. He had a 900S, and it was really, really nice. It was a black one. But I mean, the older you get, the more you grow to appreciate classic cars. And I think it's a sign of me getting old. And we're about to hit green here, so we're gonna give it one last push. And hopefully you guys like this review. Hard to give reviews of cars that I don't know much about, but yeah, here we go. Pushing it. Pulls. And I think the engine still pulls really strong, you know? Everything feels good in this car. Solid car, solid car. I think I'd be surprised if this car could hit about 260, 270,000 miles. I mean, I remember doing some research, and there is a guy who had a 1989 900S, and he drove that car on the original turbo up to 1,000,000 miles. Let's see if I can find that article for you guys, but Saab rewarded him with 9.5, Saab 9.5 after that. So I guess it was a token of like appreciation for being loyal and, you know, taking care and maintaining the car very well. I don't think I would ever drive a car to 1,000,000 miles, because number one, I don't think any of my cars would last till 1,000,000 miles, and number two, I probably would get bored of them, and I'd probably want to get new cars.
but props to that guy. I mean, but yeah, I hope you guys like this video. We're nearing our destination now, so let us know. Let me know what you think below. Give me some comments. I know it's a little bit different from a lot of other cars that I've reviewed, but it's a great car, solid car. And I wasn't hesitating. If I had enough funds, enough garage space to store, I'd probably get a 900S Turbo, classic, store it away. But hope you guys have a happy holidays, and hope you guys like the review. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace. Bye.